In every town, there's a place people avoid. In Amia's town, it was the old Obasi house. No. One said why, no one had to. The air around it felt wrong, thick, heavy, like the walls remembered screams. But when hunger knocks, fear answers slow, and so Amia's single mother scraping coins for her child's next meal. Lax-tipped, it's the job no one else would. Cleaning the house, the ghosts wouldn't leave. She thought it was dust, she'd be sweeping. She thought it was stains, she'd be scrubbing. She didn't know. She was cleaning someone else's curse, and every sweep of her broom stirred a sleeping spirit, a forgotten anger, a trapped legacy, one that wasn't looking for freedom. It was looking for a new host, her. This is the story of Amia. Amia had always been invisible. She cleaned houses while the rich owners dined in restaurants she'd never enter. She walked streets no one noticed. She prayed at shrines that seemed to forget her name. But when her daughter, little Kira, fell, sick and medicine cost more than she could dream, Amia stopped being afraid of ghosts. Fear of hunger was stronger. That's how she found herself standing in front of Obasi House. Everyone knew its name. No one said it aloud. The house stood at the edge of the town, near the old woods, crooked as if tired from holding its secrets. Windows stared out like dead eyes. The wind refused to touch its walls, yet here Amia stood, broom in hand, heart pounding. Inside, silence waited. The key felt too cold. The door creaked open, not like doors do but like something welcoming. The air inside was thick, not just with dust, with something else, heavy, watching. But Amia had scrubbed worse. Or so she thought. She stepped inside. Each floorboard groaned, not under her weight, but as if remembering footsteps long forgotten. Her breath misted. Why was it so cold? She started upstairs, where the worst dust would be. Every sweep stirred, not just dirt. It stirred whispers. She heard nothing clear. Yet every time her broom brushed the floor, a chill ran up her arms, and still she swept. Because Kira needed her. Because rent needed paying. Because she couldn't afford fear. Then she reached the master bedroom. When she saw it, at first she thought it was a stain, dark, near the fireplace. But it moved, slow, shifting like smoke, like shadow. Then it turned. She saw eyes, eyes that weren't eyes. Eyes that remembered hunger. Amia froze. She had no prayers ready, no strength left. But the shadow did not lunge. It spoke, not in words, but in knowing. In that moment, Amia understood. It wasn't haunting this house. It was trapped, and it was waiting for someone to set it free, or for someone to inherit its chain. She ran out of the house into daylight. But when she looked back, the shadow stood in the window, watching, waiting. And though she had escaped, she felt it. The dust of Obasi House clung to her skin, to her soul. And Amia knew the job wasn't over. She had only just begun. Amia tried to forget, but dust clings. At night, her dreams were no longer her own. In the darkness behind her eyelids, she heard sweeping sounds. Broom against wood, again and again. Whispers echoed between the strokes, faint but constant. Sweep, sweep, awaken. She woke with scratches down her arms. And in the morning light, the air in her home smelled like the Obasi house. Her daughter, Kira, grew worse. The herbs weren't working. The doctors stopped visiting. 1. Night desperate, Amia returned to Obasi's house. Not to clean, to plead. She stood at the doorway, trembling. "I know you're there," she whispered. Silence answered. But something shifted. Her broom, forgotten beside the door, slid inside. On its own, and Amia stepped in after it. She wasn't a cleaner anymore. she was a prisoner. Inside, she followed the sounds, her own broom sweeping without her, brushing across the old wooden floors, leaving behind not dust but strange symbols, circles, lines, marks older than words. Each stroke awakened something, and Amiya understood. Obasi House wasn't cursed. It was alive. The spirit wasn't haunting it. The house was feeding it. Every sweep, every cleaning, wasn't washing away the past. It was unlocking it. She wasn't hired to clean. She was chosen to finish the ritual. Amiya tried to stop. She gripped her broom, fought its movement. But her arms betrayed her. They moved without her will. Her own body worked against her. Tears burned her cheeks as she swept the next symbol. Sweep, sweep. Awaken. In the corner of the room, shadows thickened. The spirit the thing grew. It was no longer a shadow. It had form. A shape, human, but wrong, tall, thin, mouth too wide, eyes too many. Hands that split into fingers that split into more fingers. Watching her, grateful, because she was finishing the job, because soon it would be free. She dropped the broom, collapsed, sobbed, but her arms, bruised and bleeding, lifted the broom again. The spirit whispered now, louder, only 5 more. Sweep, free me. And that's when she heard the other voice, faint, familiar. Kira, her daughter's voice, from upstairs. No, but hope has no logic. Amiya ran up the stairs, leaving the broom behind, chasing the impossible voice of her sick child. But Obasi's house was not a place for mothers. It was a place for endings. And upstairs, Amiya found nothing, except a crib, and inside, a lump. Covered in dust, something that moved, breathing. And as she reached for it, the spirit's hand touched her shoulder. It spoke, not as a whisper, not as hunger, but as her own voice. It said, "You've already swept your last line," and Amiya remembered nothing else. Darkness took her Obasi house. It claimed its next cleaner. No one saw Amiya leave Obasi house because she didn't. For days, the villagers said nothing. In that place, silence was survival. But children whispered. They said Obasi's house moved at night. The walls shifted. The windows blinked. The doors opened. Not to the house, but to places where voices cried. Then, 3 weeks later, Amiya returned, not walking, not breathing. She stood outside her own home, broom in hand, her eyes hollow, her skin gray like wood, her lips moving silently, sweep, 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 sweep. Her neighbors watched her daughter, Kira, still too weak to cry. Heard her mother's broom scratching outside. Her father, a man who had never believed in spirits, dared to approach. Amiya. No answer, just sweeping. Then Amiya spoke, voice not hers. Where dust lies, the spirit thrives. She turned toward him, her face gone in its place, something wooden, a mask grown from her own skin. Her arms, carved, her fingers, split like broom bristles. She was the cleaner now, but not for homes, for souls. Every step she took left behind ash. Every sweep she made stole something unseen. Memories, names, hope, and the villagers understood. Obasi House had not cursed Amiya T. It had crowned her. She was its hand now, its legacy, the cleaner who inherited the spirit. But inside her somewhere, the real Amiya screamed, because the spirit needed not just her body, but her story, and stories wrought when untold. In the final night before the village broke, Kira, the sick child, crawled from her bed. She stood in front of her mother, weak, dying, but defiant, and she whispered, "Come home," for the first time. The sweeping stopped. Amiya's hands trembled. The mask cracked. A single tear fell. It wasn't enough, because behind her, Obasi House walked Dodamia. Obasi House moved. Obasi House moved on legs of splintered wood and dust. It crawled toward the village. Its door opened. Inside, the spirit waited, its mouth wide enough to swallow the world and Amia. She took her daughter's hand and walked toward it, because she knew this was the only way to end the sweeping, to bury the house, or to join it forever. And as they disappeared into its mouth, the village watched, praying it was over. But dust still falls everywhere, and sometimes, when the wind blows wrong, you can still hear the broom. The village thought it was finished, that the Obasi House had devoured Amia and her child, and with them the curse would sleep. But spirits don't sleep, and curses don't forgive. For 40 days, silence ruled. Dust piled in. Corners where children once played. Doors were nailed shut. Markets remained empty. No one spoke her name. Amia, because they believed to speak her name was to wake her. And then, on the 41st night, the sweeping returned. At first, soft, a memory of a sound. Sweep, sweep, sweep. But by dawn, it grew, louder, rougher, until dust poured from every crack in every house. The villagers emerged to find something standing at the edge of the forest. Not Amia, not Obasi House, but something worse. The mask, floating, spinning slowly in the morning air as if searching. Behind it, the village's own shadows, moving but no longer attached. Their pasts, their secrets, their regrets, all freed, all alive. Obasi House had not devoured Amia, it had consumed her pain, and now it wore it. The mask was Obasi House's true heart, and it wanted the village. But amidst the terror, one voice refused silence. Kira, the child who should have died, but who had returned, not in skin, not in bone, in dust. Her form now a silhouette of ash, standing where the mask hovered. Her voice hollow, but hers. You took my mother. She raised her hand. You won't take me. Then, the impossible. She called the dust, the sweeping reversed. Dust returned from the air, from the houses, from the cracks in the earth, and with every grain, Kira rebuilt herself and her mother. From the dust, Amia's figure formed. The woman who had been the cleaner, now reborn, but changed. Her broom gone, her mask shattered. In its place, her daughter's hand. Together, mother and child stood between the mask and the village. They didn't speak, they didn't beg. They fought, not with swords, but with memory. Every sweep had stolen memories from the village. Now, Amia and Kira returned them. One by one. A child's laughter. A lover's promise. A mother's lullaby. And as each memory lit the sky like fireflies, the mask cracked. It howled. But pain cannot survive where love remembers. In a final burst of dust and screams, the mask shattered. Obasi House collapsed. And the village? It remembered. Its people. Its love. Its story. Amia, holding Kira, looked upon the ruins of her curse and whispered, "No more sweeping." The wind carried her voice, and the village believed. For the first time in generations, the dust settled. But stories never end. Not truly. Because somewhere, across mountains and rivers, where no one remembers Obasi House, a broom begins to sweep. Once, twice, 3 times. Because a spirit's legacy is never finished, only passed to the next. Years passed. The village, once known only for its fear, slowly healed. People rebuilt homes not with fear of dust, but with walls of memory. Songs filled the air again. Children played where shadows once ruled, and Amia. She never returned to cleaning. She became something else, a storyteller by moonlight. She sat beneath the great baobab tree with Kira at her side. Children gathered, listening not to the tale of Obasi House, but to something deeper. Amiya told them about forgetting. She told them how fear grows in silence, how dust isn't the enemy. For dust is memory. Every sweep she once made wasn't to erase the past, but to collect it. And so, she taught the children. Every home carries dust. Every heart carries pain. Do not sweep them away. Let them live beside your joy, for both are part of your story. Kira grew. She wore no mask. She carried no broom. But when storms came and dust rose across the village paths, people didn't close their doors. They opened them, letting dust enter, letting memories rest, and across distant lands. Stories spread of the woman who once cleaned away memories, and of her daughter who rebuilt her from dust. But Obasi House, it was gone. Or so they believed, because one morning, in a village far away, a child woke to find a single broom leaning against her door, and beside it, a mask, not dark, not cursed, but waiting because some stories aren't meant to end. They are meant to continue in dust, in memory, in those who remember to sweep, not to erase, but to remember. Amiya's voice echoes even now. Dust is not death. Dust is what remains when everything else is forgotten. And thus, the cleaner's legacy lives on. The end. Thanks for watching. Hoped you liked it. If you watched till the end, please comment "end" so that we could understand you were with us till the end. As well as, please let us know where are you watching from. Before leaving, please hit the subscribe button, comment your thought, and share with your nearest and dearest one. See you in the next one. Till to the next one, stay happy. Goodbye.